The UK House of Lords has voted to ban VPNs for children as the pressure on privacy tools increases. The House of Lords has passed this. Now it's going to go on to the House of Commons. The good news is it says here the Labour government has a large majority in the Commons, but it's not clear whether it will attempt to overturn the amendment or support it. This may face scrutiny or it may just fly right on through. We don't know at this time, but it says that the vote was passed 207 to 159 and that within 12 months, regulations which prohibit the provision to the UK children of a relevant VPN service must be enacted. And this is specifically in response to the Online Safety Act, which has not gone well. I think within days of the Online Safety Act taking effect, there were stories about how a VPN could get around it. People were using their parents' IDs. I think some people were even using screenshots from video games, specifically the game Death Stranding. I love when governments just pile band-aids on top of each other. Like, we passed the Online Safety Act. Oh, that didn't work. Well, let's ban VPNs. And then they're going to find a way, because it's a cat and mouse. They're going to find a way around VPNs. The source of the issue is what? Harmful content online, right? So why don't you address the content online? And to their defense, some of the stuff that's harmful is out of their reach. If a website is based in another part of the EU, India, America, like, they can't really do anything about that. But I don't know. This just feels to me like, oh, it didn't work. We need to add a band-aid. And
I think that a lot of people, and especially techie people in this space, hear about bans on technology. They hear about a VPN ban, or they hear about a ban on end-to-end encrypted messengers like Signal if something like chat control were to be rolled out. And they think like, oh, I can still continue to use these tools and I'll be fine. Even if this affects other people, I'm smart enough to know how to bypass all of this stuff and it won't be an issue for me. And that's what we've seen, like with age verification rolling out. Like, a lot of people are just using VPNs, right? But I think the problem with banning and criminalizing very common, very mundane, and very legitimately useful technologies like VPNs, for example, is that it makes crimes very easy to commit and very commonplace. And this is the first step in what we see in these authoritarian regimes, where they try to fill the books with as many, potential crimes or violations as possible, so that even if you're doing something completely unrelated to the crime at hand, like if you're using a VPN and the government decides they don't like it, but like if you're protesting your government, for example, in the UK, they can very easily like look at your technology. They can look at you being a VPN user or using this end-to-end encrypted tool or whatever, if any of these laws pass, and they can use that fact against you.
Personally, I really hate that, like, oh, well, I know how to get around this. That's great. A lot of people don't. Privacy is a human right, right? It's the 1948 United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. Article 12 says that everyone has a right to privacy. We're talking about like water, food, shelter, the right to live, the right to education, and also the right to privacy. Like, if we're going to believe that, if we're going to sit here and say like, yes, privacy is a right, the government is infringing on my rights by taking away my privacy, then that's really messed up to say like, oh, well, this doesn't affect me, so meh.
The issue being created is that as these governments try to age gate as many services and as many sites as possible as they can possibly justify, it really creates a wall around all of these things that the government has absolute control over whether you can cross that wall and access that site. And they can do something like revoke your ID if they want to, for whatever reason, kick you off of practically half the internet, right? And we're seeing these ID verification laws and directives expand far beyond their original intent of like protecting adult services. Now we're talking about social media sites. Now we're talking about VPNs. We've seen them affect in the UK, potentially Wikipedia, for example, which is just a knowledge sharing service. That's something that should be, people should have a right to access that, frankly. And it's crazy that the government would step in and get in the middle of that. And that is what we're enabling with these digital ID concepts. We just cannot accept these restrictions on the free flow of information sharing and knowledge. And so even with these private and zero knowledge digital ID solutions, it creates a real danger to society that I don't think we should tolerate using this technology at all for gating access to information, especially.